You feel like you were born old, like you entered the world already mid-conversation with a voice no one else can hear. Some days the voice is a gift. It sees patterns, connects ideas, predicts the next 3 moves of life's game. Other days it is a tyrant. It won't let you rest, won't let you be ordinary, won't let you enjoy the moment without interrogating it. You walk into a room and sense the tension beneath the smiles. You hear what was not said. You notice the flaw in the plan everyone else calls perfect. And then you go home and wonder why you don't feel at home anywhere. If that is you, if your inner world is vivid, heavy, impossible to switch off, you are not broken. But you might be haunted by what Carl Jung called the task of individuation, the demand to become who you are, not who the world rewards. Let us start with an uncomfortable truth. The same mind that gives you depth also isolates you. The very capacity to see farther can make ordinary distances feel unbearable. This is why your mind feels like a curse. It is not your intelligence, it is your relationship to it. You are carrying a brilliant lantern into caves you were never taught to navigate. Pause. Ask yourself, when was the last time you allowed your mind to be a companion rather than a warden? Jung would say the curse begins when your persona, the mask you wear to function, hardens into your identity. For many INTJs and INFJs, the mask is competence, insight, poise. You read the room, you adapt, you perform. People call you wise, calm, mysterious. But the persona always has a cost. You stand outside the circle so often that soon you do not remember how to step in. You become a consultant to your own life, advising yourself from a distance. Here is the twist. The world praises the mask while your soul starves behind it. Jung's remedy is radical in its simplicity. Meet the one inside you that you avoid. He called it the shadow, the parts of you that do not fit the persona, your neediness, your anger, your messy longing for connection, your unstrategic joy. The shadow is not the villain. The shadow is your unclaimed life. Think about your pattern. Perhaps, as an INTJ, you trust clarity, structure, abstract strategy, the long arc. When threatened, you become colder, sharper, more precise. Or, as an INFJE, you trust meaning, harmony, and moral coherence. When stressed, you disappear into silence, then erupt in private with emotions too big for the room. Either way, your mind tries to protect you by doubling down on what you are good at. This works until it doesn't. Jung warned, what you deny controls you. What you integrate frees you. There is a moment most deep thinkers avoid. It is the moment you admit you are lonely, not because people are unworthy, but because you never allow them to see the unpolished version of you. The version that does not have a theory for everything. The curse lifts not when life gets easier, but when you stop treating your humanity as a liability. Another step. In Jung's language, the functions you disown become the guardians at the gate. For INTJs and INFJs, the inferior function often lives in the realm of sensation, the earthy, tactile, spontaneous connection to the present. You may prefer the clean lines of the future to the textures of now. So, you skip lunch to chase an idea. You forget to breathe because you are planning a life worthy of breath. You promise yourself you will feel after you finish thinking. Then the day ends, and you have thought yourself out of feeling. The mind becomes a curse when it refuses to share the stage with the body and the heart. Try this experiment. Next time you are spiraling, do not create a system. Make tea, hold the cup, smell it, taste without naming. Let the world win for 2 minutes. This is not trivial. It is medicine. The inferior function does not want you to abandon depth. It wants you to anchor it. Now, a story. Imagine a lighthouse on a cliff. It was built to watch the sea, warn the ships, guard the coast from disaster. Year after year it stands, vigilant, impeccable. But the keeper inside has never walked the beach below. He knows the tides by calculation and the storms by pattern, but he has never let the salt touch his skin. One day the light fails. The keeper climbs down for the first time to fix the wiring at the base. His boots sink into sand. The ocean is louder than his theories. The wind steals his breath and gives it back. He repairs the light, yes, but something else changes. He no longer guards the sea from afar. He belongs to it. This is individuation, not abandoning the lighthouse, but finally walking the beach. Here's another uncomfortable truth. Your gift for insight can become an alibi for distance. Critical thinking, when divorced from compassion, becomes cruelty in the uniform of logic. And empathy, without boundaries, becomes self-erasure decorated as kindness. Jung's map asks you to refuse both extremes. Depth is not the same as detachment. Wisdom is not the same as withholding. We often pride ourselves on seeing the hidden motives in others. But maturity begins when you admit your own. Why do you insist on being the observer? What do you fear would happen if you entered the scene? Many INTJ and INFJ souls fear contamination, the mess of being influenced, misunderstood, or dependent. So, you maintain strategic autonomy. You become a fortress of insight. But a fortress, however beautiful, is still a prison when the drawbridge never lowers. Lower it. Let someone cross with muddy boots. Let life scuff the polished floors. Let the echoing halls hear laughter that does not fit your brand. History offers a warning. Every era creates a particular persona. Ours worships productivity, certainty, and win-win narratives. But Jung reminds us, the soul speaks in paradox. To grow, you must let some plans die. To love, you must risk misreading and being misread. To create, you must embarrass yourself. Your mind will call this inefficient. Your spirit will call it necessary. Consider the anima or animus, the inner counterpart we carry, the neglected polarity that softens the hard edges and strengthens the soft ones. If you are all blade, your anima invites water. If you are all water, your animus invites boundary. Many INTJ and INFJ lives are saved not by more strategy or more sensitivity, but by this marriage within, firmness that can weep, tenderness that can say no. Integrate this, and the curse becomes a compass. Practical? Yes. Start with 3 tiny rebellions against your mental tyranny. First, schedule awe. You already schedule tasks. Add 15 minutes of useless beauty daily, sunset, music, a page of poetry. Do not analyze it. Let it bruise you softly. Second, practice the messy ask once a week. Ask for help without a thesis. No preface, no plan, no apology. You will feel exposed. Good. That is the drawbridge lowering. Third, decide one thing with your body. Not a major life choice, just enough to learn the language of sensation. Which chair feels right? Which path in the park? Which meal? Trust the yes that rises before the argument. These small acts do not betray your mind. They befriend it. The mind will trust you more when it knows it is not the only adult in the room. A brief detour into fear. You fear wasting potential. You fear becoming ordinary. You fear that if you slow down, the world will run ahead and forget you. But potential is not a debt you owe to strangers. It is a garden that grows when tended, not audited. Ordinary is not the enemy, unconscious is. You can wash dishes consciously and become more awake than someone winning awards unconsciously. What matters is not the scale of your life, but the depth of your presence within it. Let us return to the curse with precision. The curse is the compulsion to translate every feeling into a forecast. The cure is the courage to let a feeling be a feeling. You do not need to predict your way out of pain. You can move through it without building a cathedral of hypotheses around it. Jung would invite you to sit with your sadness until it tells you its name, and when it does, do not cross-examine it. Offer it bread. Another story. There is a library inside you with rooms you have never entered. You spend your days in the reference section. Indexes, maps, frameworks, coherent models. The door to the poetry room is always ajar, but you walk past it because there is no table of contents. One evening the power fails, and your lamps go dark. You push open the poetry door. Moonlight spills across untidy shelves. You read by accident a line that feels like your own spine learning to breathe. The lights return. You could go back to reference, but you don't, not entirely. You carry a poem in your pocket into the rest of your life, and suddenly the models you build do not merely explain, they animate. That is what happens when the inferior function is invited, when the shadow is heard, when the persona is softened. Your mind stops policing you and begins partnering with you. Now the hardest part. Forgive the seasons where your insight cost you closeness. Forgive the years you stayed silent because your words felt too heavy for the room. Forgive the relationships you sabotaged because intuition discovered flaws faster than compassion could build bridges. You did not fail. You did what you knew. Now you know more. From here, cultivate a ritual of re-entry. After you think, return to touch. After you analyze, return to breath. After you predict, return to presence. Let your vision guide without exiling you from the village of human warmth. You can be both, the lighthouse and the beach, the strategist and the friend, the mystic and the neighbor who waters plants. Jung believed that the goal is not perfection, but wholeness. Perfection demands that you amputate what does not fit your image. Wholeness asks that you carry what you once exiled and build a larger home inside. This is not efficient work. It is sacred work. It will not make life simpler. It will make you real. Final turn. The next time your mind feels like a curse, remember, the lantern you carry is not meant to blind you to the world. It is meant to help you walk it. Put the light lower, see the ground, notice the faces beside you, and when the room feels too loud, step outside, feel the wind, and ask, not, what is the plan, but what is alive here, now? If you do this, the voice inside you will transform. It will not shout orders from a tower. It will kneel like an old friend and whisper something you have been longing to hear. You do not have to earn your place in reality by thinking. You already belong. Let your mind be brilliant and let it be held. Because the curse was never your mind. It was your refusal to let it love the world it understands so well. And that is where your story begins, not in the safety of explanations, but in the risk of being fully here.